it seems to me like what they presented as what the Democrats were doing, which is just like woke and gay shit and not fixing the cost of living crisis. They've just basically done the exact reversal of that, which is the anti-woke and anti-gay shit and not fixing the cost of living crisis. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it kind of feels like these guys are all not really interested in fixing some of these underlying material realities that impact the working class of the United States. That is so crazy.
On Russia, if I may, President Putin is bombing Ukraine.
Yeah.
Do you still believe him when he tells you that he wants peace?
Yeah, no, I believe him. I believe him. I think we're doing very well with Russia. But right now, they're bombing the hell out of...
Horrible take on China defending small countries and shamming U.S. peace talks while they did nothing to stop the war for 3 years, supported Russia all the way, and keep an eye on Taiwan, glaze China for what they do good, don't act like a sheep, says Tolkien Society. You're not right. You're incorrect about this. China currently is outflanking the United States on, and has consistently outflanked the United States in terms of what I think is achievable. China is on the side of Russia. It is a conditional ally to Russia in this. Russia is the party that is committing the wrong. That much is correct. Okay. But as far as no, China does. China has a conditional allegiance to Russia. That is 100% correct. I don't think it's inappropriate to say that. Maybe they don't have as much hands-on support like the DPRK, for example, which is ironic because I'm certain that the DPRK Russian allegiance in that regard is something that China doesn't like anyway, because they like having the DPRK as like a security barrier for themselves. Having said that, however, in terms of trying to find a manageable negotiation out of this situation, China has always been committed to coming to the table to do a ceasefire. They literally did a Brazil plan, and now they're also outflanking the United States once again by stating that yes, Ukraine should be at the table. China should also be at the table as the other side, the America of the other side, I guess. But with demonstrable restraint in comparison to the United States of America in terms of their foreign policy. Do they dominate other countries in the South China Sea, for example, like the Philippines? Absolutely. Okay, they do. It is marginal in comparison to what the United States of America does all around the globe. If you're looking at these two as major world powers, okay, and comparing one's actions all around the world to the other, it's fairly tame and incredibly restrained. If America had a similar limited foreign policy attitude, I would not be as critical of American foreign policy. This is something that I try to explain to Americans in general. They don't understand it, even though I myself am American. I wish that the United States of America would have would demonstrate restraint when they're engaging with other countries as well. They apply some sort of soft pressure, but they act two-faced as well. It's a weird take from the Chinese all of a sudden. Once again, I want America to implement good policies, okay? Whether it be in our domestic affairs or whether it be in terms of our foreign policy. If America significantly dialed back its imperialism and operated similarly to the way that like China operates in terms of foreign policy, or in terms of its domestic policies, engaged in massive infrastructure development projects, created a hub of transport, and started building seriously, taking seriously the innovations in maglev technology, and created bullet trains all around the country and whatever, I would be very happy. Let's continue.
Of Ukraine and Ukraine, I'm finding it more difficult.
The memes have gone full circle. Reddit conservatives are telling pro-Ukrainians to house the TPS Ukrainians. Trump is about to deport if they really care. Same shit when they smear you as a socialist, therefore the house homeless. I don't even understand what that
frankly,
is.
to deal with Ukraine.
Why would China try and stop a war that it did not start? Why did the U.S. and U.K. sabotage talks between Ukraine and Russia in the early phases? Why did Zelensky reject the China-Brazil plan, which did not ask for any rare earths from Ukraine? Yeah, no, I that's what I brought forth as well. I think China has been like, I wish that America would have a similar attitude in terms of like managing the conflict.
And they don't have the cards. They don't have the cards. As you know, we're meeting in.
It's pure cope to look at the situation and just like try to somehow turn around and be like, but no, they're being two-faced. Dog, look at our guy. Okay, look at us. This is our guy. Okay, this is you and I. That's our president. Do you understand? That's our president saying, still dunking on Zelensky, who is the wronged party here. Okay, dunking on our ally. What do you mean? How are you still in this process looking at other major powers around the world and like how they're trying to manage this situation and going, no, they're still worse though. Like, think with your brain, please. How aggressive are they towards Russia, China? I mean, no, not aggressive at all. Russia is a foreign adversary. It's outside of the Russia is outside of the sphere of Western influence. It's long been a foreign adversary, even after the dissolution of the USSR. This is precisely the reason why, just like with Iran, just like all of these other countries like Venezuela, there is basically a network of countries that have been cast aside by Western imperialism, and they have conditional relationships with one another. Like they have an allegiance with one another because they see it as they see any opportunity to coexist outside of the American periphery as they'll take it. This is why the Trump administration's accelerated accelerated sanction strategy that Joe Biden actually went crazy with created this secondary market around the globe. Because if you sanction every country, all of a sudden you have now sanctioned no country. You are just sanctioning yourself at that point. They don't have any other choice. They have no alternative. They have to work with one another because America forces their hand. Yeah, Trump sanctions 69% of the global south, the poorest nations. Or not just Trump, but Biden as well, because American foreign policy is uniparty.
Saudi Arabia on sometime next week, early. And we're talking, would I find that in terms of getting a final settlement, it may be easier dealing with Russia, which is surprising because they have all the cards. I mean, they're bombing the hell out of them right now. And I put a statement in, a very strong statement.
We got all the cards. They got none of the cards. We got all the cards. Cards are ours.
And
PSA 10, we got, I open the cards, I say to myself, that's a new Pokemon. I will fuck this Pokemon.
Get on the ball and get a job done. Michael, could you come up here? I see Michael back there.
Where is my goat? Where is Steve Witkoff? Where is Goatkoff? Bring the goat in, okay? Bring the goat into this conversation as well.
Good, I'm glad. He's traveling all over the world. I just saw him come in the door. Could you give a little definition of what's going on, please?
Sure. Well, the president has been crystal clear, and he's been clear to all sides. The fighting has to stop. Both sides need to get to the table. We had a good engagement. Both leaders have said only President Trump could do so, and only he has been able to do so. We had an initial engagement with the Russians. The Ukrainians had a great opportunity to bind our economies together through that mineral deal. Unfortunately, that didn't go so well, but we think we're going to get things back on track. Secretary Rubio, myself, and the Ukrainian delegation will be meeting in Saudi Arabia.
Okay, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I got to hand it to Megaphonics on this take. You clock this, okay? The fighting has to stop, sounding like an ineffectual Brandon. No, the Brandonization of Trump is clear here, okay? When it comes down to Ukraine, he does sound like Brandon. Just like Brandon was Benjamin Netanyahu's little bitch boy, Trump is behaving like Vladimir Putin's little bitch boy, where everyone's got their favorites, okay? Everyone's got their favorites, baby. Yeah. I'm working tirelessly for a ceasefire. Now, of course, to be fair, I can't believe I'm saying this, but to be fair to Trump, which is a weird statement to make. Russia is a foreign adversary, which is precisely the reason why bringing them to the negotiation table is very different than bringing Israel to the negotiations table and making them do whatever we want to, whatever we want them to do, because Israel does not exist without our unconditional support and loyalty. It's not the same for Russia. So it is trickier and more difficult to manage that situation. Having said that, however, he is still very much hitting I would say 65% Brandonization on the Brandon meter with this whole, I'm working tirelessly around the clock for a ceasefire, believe me.
Next week to get these talks back on track, get a ceasefire in place, and drive peace home under President Trump's leadership.
I think both parties want to settle. I think if I wasn't president, this war would have had no chance of settlement, zero chance. But I think we're going to get it settled and stopped. We got to stop. They're losing on average 2,000 soldiers a week. That's a lot of soldiers. Do you agree, Peter?
It's a lot of soldiers on both sides, I agree. Do you, Mr. President, think that Vladimir Putin is taking advantage of the U.S. pause right now on intelligence and military aid to Ukraine?
No, I actually think he's doing what anybody else would do. I think he wants to get it stopped and settled, and I think he's hitting them harder than he's been hitting them. And I think probably anybody in that position would be doing that right now. He wants to get it ended, and I think Ukraine wants to get it ended, but I don't see, it's crazy. They're taking tremendous punishment. I don't quite get it, but I suspect, Michael, he probably wants to get it ended.
He does, Mr. President. The Russians are taking incredible losses on the front. As the president has said, this is a meat grinder of people, of material, of national treasure, and no one else has any solutions except to let this war continue forever. But I'll add, the president has had multiple conversations and a visit from President Macron of France, Prime Minister Starmer of the United Kingdom. We have the NATO Secretary General coming next week. We have this meeting with the Ukrainians. We've had it with the Russians. All of this in the president's first month in his leadership. We will engage in the shuttle diplomacy, and we will continue to use his leadership and what leverage we have to get both sides of the peace table. It's not going to be easy, but President Trump...
This war should have never happened. It would have never happened if I were president, but it did happen. So a lot of other things shouldn't have happened, too. We shouldn't have 21 million people pouring into our country through open borders, many of whom are criminals, very bad criminals, including murderers, thousands of murderers.
Donald Trump says he believes Putin wants peace.
He killed far more than one person, and they're roaming our streets. But Tom Homan and Kristi Noem are doing an incredible job, and we're getting them out of here. And we'll get them out. We'll get them all out. But all these things shouldn't have happened. We shouldn't have inflation. We shouldn't have had this horrible inflation where the prices have gone up. Look at eggs. So we're doing...
Dog, you're president now, though. I don't get it. Okay, you're president now. What happened? You're president. You said the previous president was responsible for the inflation. That's a big part of how you got elected. So I just don't understand. Like, it seems to me like what they presented as what the Democrats were doing, which is just like woke and gay shit and not fixing the cost of living crisis. They've just basically done the exact reversal of that, which is the anti-woke and anti-gay shit and not fixing the cost of living crisis. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it kind of feels like these guys are all not really interested in fixing some of these underlying material realities that impact the working class of the United States.
We're doing a good job. We're doing a good job.
Mr. President, in regards to the pause on military assistance to Ukraine, you put out on your social media post today that Russia is pounding Ukraine.
Well, it doesn't take a month to fix everything, especially inflation, but respect to you for what you do. Yeah, perhaps inflation is not immediately related to whoever is in charge. That's number one. A reality that like Republicans refuse to reckon with. And secondly, and perhaps more importantly, this cost of living crisis that has been ongoing is not going to be fixed by Donald Trump's solutions. He never actually had any solutions, as a matter of fact. He just made it seem as though he just simply made it seem as though coming in and saying we're going to eliminate woke, we're going to eliminate DEI is going to somehow magically make prices go down. Okay? It was not. That was not the case. That was never the case. That's why everybody goes fell for it again award over and over again on Twitter.
That's right.
Why not provide Ukraine with...
This feels like your actually arc, bro, calling out hypocrisy as if they care. Love you, though. I'm not talking to Republicans here, or the Republicans I'm talking to. I'm trying to get them to understand that neither party actually cares about the cost of living crisis. Ultimately, one party is also marginally worse because they hyper focus on like doing harm to marginalized populations, and that they should very quickly wake up to that reality and refuse to lend support, unconditional support and fealty to the Trump administration that they somehow magically thought was going to restore American empire, restore American glory, and only doing so by, I guess, dominating trans people or Guatemalan immigrants.
Air defenses, and what happens, Mr. President, when Ukraine runs out of
Well, because
Patriot missile batteries?
good question. Because I have to know that they want to settle. I don't know that they want to settle. If they don't want to settle, we're out of there because we want them to settle. And I'm doing it to stop death, more important than anything else. Secondarily, way down the line is the money. So we're in for $350 billion, and Europe is in for $100 billion. They should be in for the same or more than us. And, you know, I watched over the last week or so what's going on in Europe. This thing could end up in World War III if we don't get it settled. This could really end up in a World War III. We got to get it settled.
So on Iran, how confident are you that the Iranians will negotiate with you? And is Israel on board with this outrage?
Yeah, I saw the hostages the other day. They came in, people that were not young, some young and some older, much older. And they gave, it was hard for them to do it, actually. They gave statements as to what happened. I was asking, what happened? How was it? I said, did you see anybody in there that was kind, like out of the hundreds of people that you were seeing, Hamas? Did some of them wink at you and say, don't worry, you're going to be okay, or give you a piece of bread, or no? I said, were there any people that were, like, kind? I was shocked. The answer was nobody. There was nobody. Just the opposite. They'd be slapped and punched. One man broke his ribs. He couldn't breathe for a month. It was brutal. I was so surprised. Could you think there'd be a couple of people that would be kind?
I think when Trump does Hasbara, it's really funny. When he does Hasbara, it's really funny because he's just not, he's not about it. You know what I mean? He's just like, not a single one of them was kind. Not a single one. The delivery is not landing. Yeah, he's just, they're so unkind. Meanwhile, did Hamas wink at you? Did they give you bread? Like he's trying to hit like a Trumpian line there when he tries to add some seasoning, some flavor.
That would say, you're going to be okay. But they had none of that. It's pretty amazing. Brian?
Thank you, Mr. President.
He's a kind person.
Well, according to the
Although not to...
Biden was way more aggro with the Hasbara. He would be like, I saw decapitated babies. I saw Hamas hold up a baby that they decapitated to the camera, Jack. And then Hamas said, that's right, we're going to do this to America. And we're doing this for anti-Semitism, Jack. Like, he would hit that line way harder, you know? He hit that line way harder. Trump, you're failing a little bit on this.
To Zelensky, he wasn't.
Well, you know what, that's another
But the Trumpy's been good.
Yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
Nice tie, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. I like yours, too.
Two questions. One on peace. Why don't you think any other European countries are offering a peace deal? It seems like no one's come to the table for peace except for you.
Yeah. It's...
Dude, the quality of the, I don't even want to call this a question, but like the quality of the glazed statements that you get from these new pressers, have absolutely passed dear leader status. Okay, genuinely, it's getting. I'm watching quote unquote journalists do new types of tricks on it. Okay, types of tricks that I did not know Americans were capable of doing. Incredible stuff. It's like, Mr. President, what do you have to like? I mean, let's run that question back. Hold on, I want to run this back. Let's hear what he let's hear this question. Okay, I need you to pay attention to this question.
He's a kind person.
Well, according to the
Although not to Zelensky, he wasn't.
Well, you know what? That's another.
This is the guy. This is the human heart disease that was like telling Zelensky why he wasn't wearing a suit, from Right Side Broadcasting News. Okay, Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend. Let's take a look at what his question is. Okay.
But the Trumpy's been good. Go ahead, bro.
Nice tie, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. I like yours too.
Two questions. One on peace. Why don't you think any other European countries are offering a peace deal? It seems like no one's come to the table for peace except for you.
Yeah.
Mr. President, why is no one else as peaceful as you are, sir? Why is no one else interested in doing peace? Why are you the only one, Mr. President?
It's a very good question. Sometimes questions are.
It is crazy because, like, he is flossing with Donald Trump's pubes at this point. Like, this is dick riding that should be illegal. I think you should go to jail if you suck the president like this hard in broad daylight.
Answerable. They're in a very unusual position. They don't know how to end the war. I think I do know how to end the war.
Mr. President, I've been watching a lot of porn so I can improve my dick sucking capabilities.
Despite
do you like it? Do you like what I'm doing?
Russia hoax. I've always had a good relationship with Putin. And, you know, he wants to end the war. He wants to end it. And I think he's going to be more generous than he has to be. And that's pretty good. That means a lot of good things. Because frankly, you could have made a great deal if this war never started, you could have made a great deal. I don't know that anything would have had to be given up. This was not a war that was going to start, Brian.
Yeah.
And it didn't start. For 4 years, somebody said, well, how do we know that? Well, for 4 years, it didn't start. I used to speak to Vladimir about it. I used to speak to him about it at length. It was the apple of his eye, but there was no way he was going in. And he knew, there were going to be consequences. But it did start. I mean, think of what happened. Inflation, you have the war with Ukraine and Russia, that wouldn't have happened. October 7th would have never happened. Israel, they had no money. Iran had no money. Iran was stone cold broke, and now they have a lot of money. But then that's going to be the next thing you'll be talking about is Iran. What's going to happen with Iran? And there'll be some interesting days ahead. That's all I can tell you. You know, we're down to final strokes with Iran. That's going to be an interesting time. And we'll see what happens. But we're down to the final moments. We're at final moments. You can't let them have a nuclear weapon. I think that I would have had a deal within 1 month after the rigged election of 2020. They were all set to make a deal. And then when I lost, they saw this person who's a stupid person, very stupid person. And they said, let's not make a deal. And they were right. He took the sanctions off. They became rich under Biden. They went from having no money to having $300 billion. All in a short period. It's oil. Oil builds up fast. It's a nice living if you have a nice oil well. And they do. They have a lot of nice oil wells, right? So anyway, it's going to be a big thing. It's an interesting time in the history of the world, but we have a situation.
He's not wrong about that. he's definitely playing a role in that, being an interesting time. How does anyone think this guy is presidential material? What do you mean? He's the GOAT. He's fixing everything, dude. He's killing it. He's the greatest of all time. He's gonna finally make the egg prices go down. He's doing day one peace.
situation with Iran, that something's going to happen very soon. Very, very soon. You'll be talking about that pretty soon.
How can he continue to talk shit about Biden like this? Doesn't it present it pathetic? No, it's all resentment. What are you talking about? He's got no emotion outside of like pure resentment towards. Oh yeah, you might be tricky to get it out of there. What are you eating? Oh, nice. Also, that's BDS, bro. Yeah, Diet Coke is BDS now. I know. I haven't been drinking them.
Letting me do it?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't want to call you out. Yeah, I've been drinking.
You want to call me out? You just call me out on stream?
Well,
Bruh.
It's fine. Just put the.
You're a snake, dude.
Ethan's
right about you.
Put the red hat on.
Ethan's right about you.
Oh my God! Don't even
setting up your friends.
Don't even start, dude. Yeah, I'm actually being anti-Semitic by telling you can't drink Diet Coke.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When is this from? Now?
This is from earlier in the day.
Ooh.
He won by a landslide according to some Canadians. This is what he campaigned on. He needs his approval rating to come back up. Bro, they are already purchased. Don't matter. Yeah, just put it in a koozie or something. I don't know. It is already purchased. You're right. Oh yeah, you can put the blue on it. Mike matches the fit. Oh, true. I didn't even think about that. Go Lakers. Knicks suck, bro. Damn, they're
He's
talking
right.
shit.
He's right.
They're talking big
man
shit.
Speaks the damn truth.
They're talking big shit in the chat.
Soon, I guess, and hopefully we can have a peace deal. You know, I'm not speaking out of strength or weakness. I'm just saying I'd rather see a peace deal than the other, but the other will solve the problem.
Mr. President,
Do you feel safer having your own Jewish hostages at your house? Yes. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm not just a human shield in rhetoric.
Yeah, he's
I'm not
here.
I'm not just an excuse.
He's here shielding me. He's here shielding me from the anti-Semitism allegations and also directly shielding me from getting drone striked.
Yeah, no, there's like I'm in the path. I'm in the line of fire.
Yeah. What happened to this camera? This was better. Oh shit. Fuck. I just moved the other camera as well on accident.
Here.
Hold on. That's better.
Gorgeous.
Wait, but this got fucked up. Yeah, this camera moved as well. Now this camera moved.
You can't ever win.
Nah, it's fine. It's all good. Let's turn this off and let's do this. This is better, I think. I think it's better. Noah, I had that shirt bag in 92 high school era. Solid choice.
Yeah, well, this is actually probably like my best thrift store find ever.
Yeah, it's dope.
Yeah, I'm really
sick.
lucky. It's great.
It looks sick. Offer him a wink and some bread. Oh, did you hear that? Trump said he talked to all the hostages.
Oh wait, yeah. I overheard.
And he's like
some
all
of
the
them are
release.
old, some of them are very old.
Yeah, he's like,
older.
I asked them, did any of the guys, were they nice to you? Did they offer you a wink or some bread? They said no. That's
really good.
Audio files are going to be up your ass today? No, the microphones are fixed completely. So no.
your allies are calling on you to pardon Derek Chauvin. Are you considering pardoning Derek Chauvin?
No, I haven't even heard about it.
Oh my God, Ben Shapiro, you're so fucking washed. Ben,
No
you're
motion,
washed.
Mr. Zero Motion.
Yo, you are so washed, dude. That video got 75,000 views in 2 days.
Oh yeah, right. We looked at that.
Yeah,
that was
or like
crazy.
50,000.
But also, like again, I stand by what I said. It was but it was entirely CYA for him because if you Googled before this month, if you Googled Ben Shapiro, Derek Chauvin, you would get the video where for like the first time in Ben Shapiro's like miserable life, he showed some humanity or empathy or whatever. Thought it was like that's
can't
not
have
right.
that. Nope.
No, but so now when you Google Ben Shapiro, Derek Chauvin, even though there was probably never going to be a chance of the pardon because Trump can't free the guy because he's serving the state sentence. He's like now Ben Shapiro has solved his problem. It is all I can say is that like it's it's impressively cynical even for like like a shit stain like Ben Shapiro. You know, like that's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. He's just you're so right with the SEO ploy. I didn't think about it like
Who's
that.
Googling Ben Shapiro though? Come on, bro. So many people are Googling Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
Google exists to connect people who collect Social Security to Ben Shapiro content.
That's true.
You know, like that's a radicalization funnel. You know.
All right, let's keep going. Let's see what else he
Mr.
said.
President, on peace.
I haven't heard that.
In the first term, you may recall, I broke the news that you were nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. And the reason for that was the work that you led on the Abraham Accords. I spoke yesterday with the member of parliament, the Norwegian parliament, that nominated you. And he said what the Nobel Committee is looking for from you, Mr. President, is
Like he's a fucking he's like a
security
draft
guarantees
prospect.
for Ukraine. Is that a possibility?
Even the people who
Mr.
glaze
President?
him do it weird.
Yeah.
So before I even think about that, I want to settle the war, get it finished. Because if I'm not here, nobody's going to settle it. And President Macron has said that, and everybody said that. The prime ministers and presidents. We're pushing very hard. That's all I'm thinking about now. As far as the question about security later, that's the easy part. The hard part is getting it settled. We got to get them. We're losing 2,000 human beings every week. More than that, actually. 2,000 nice, young.
I know that, like, notoriously, the Russia-Ukraine war has been very secretive. Like, our intelligence communities have been notoriously and unceremoniously secretive about the casualty numbers of Ukraine.
And like Ukraine, I mean, the Ukrainians are because like
Yeah.
I mean, everybody is.
'Cause
Nobody
it's
has an incentive to be
It's
honest
100%
about it.
like information warfare. Russia is lying about their casualty numbers, saying, "Oh, we're doing fantastic," and Ukraine is also, you know, lying about their casualty numbers versus the Russian casualty numbers. It's the same shit, right? And there are obviously incentives for that. There's obviously an understandable reason for that. But what has been shocking for me, at least, is like our intelligence apparatus. Our intelligence apparatus is normally on this. You know what I mean? Like they will reveal the truth to at least like congressional representatives, like, and even they have been upset about not knowing what the situation is, like what the actual situation is on the ground. So I don't know where the hell Trump is getting these numbers from. Like, I don't know if Trump is getting this info now and he's just like turning around and saying like they're dying, 2,000 people are dying every week.
I mean, it is like what we know about how Trump was presented with information from in like term one. Like, for example, Alex Thompson, who is the one co-writing the book about Biden and the age stuff. He in his Trump one term, he had like Alex broke the story that he got like the meme binder, like the file of images from the internet that would make him smile that was printed out. And I do think that like he probably is, you know, like every president gets briefings tailored to their personality and style. Like Ronald Reagan, and this is in the 80s, he like was so famously averse to reading that they would make a video for him to be his briefing. So in Trump's case, like, yeah, I'm sure he's getting like fucking like some kind of briefing. He's getting some kind of figures. Like, I'm sure these numbers are coming from somewhere, whether or not it's like the secret, actual straight, you know, like whether it's like the real shit or whatever. Like, I think it's Trump magic not to let us know whether that's so, where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Although they're getting older because they're drafting much older now. In the case of one country, much older, because a lot of the young people have been killed. It's very sad, and I'd like to see if I could stop that.
Wait, what? He's saying that the young people are being killed. That's why they're the soldiers in the ranks are much older. No, dog. They're older because they don't want to draft younger people. They don't want to completely shut off their next generation. Am I wrong on this? Isn't that the case? Like they've lowered the draft age multiple times at this point. But I thought that the real reason why, you know, the age of all of the average age of like the Ukrainian Defense Force person is like, what, like 40 plus or something. And that's because young people are not getting drafted yet. No, it's not because they're killing the youth. It's because, one, if you're a young Ukrainian man, you probably got the fuck out of Ukraine, which is perfectly reasonable. Okay? Oh, he's talking about Russia? Wait, what? He's talking about the Russian military? No, I think he's talking about the Ukrainian one.
I'd like to also see if we could stop making these massive payments from the United States. I mean, Biden gave away money like it was water, with no anything, got nothing for it. Europe did it in the form of a loan. They get their money back, we don't. So that's how we came up with the rare earth deal. But we started, behind the 8 ball. He could have gone to Europe. He could have said, "Come on, you got to put up money with us. You got to put up money with us." But he never did that. They just kept handing money out because he was grossly incompetent. All right, thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he was doing his classic like trail off anyway.
Russia says sending European peacekeepers to Ukraine would be act of war. Did America pay anyone back for helping with 9/11? I don't. No, that's not how this works. I don't think. Also, we like our weapons deals that we're doing with our European partners, as far as like NATO deals goes, it's directly benefiting the military industrial complex. It's our manufacturing industry that helps or that gets a lot of those contracts. That's how this works.
Putin says Russia will not retreat from Ukraine and give away anything that belongs to us. He made the comments while speaking to widows and mothers of Russian soldiers killed following his full-scale invasion.
By the way, I personally think the reason why Putin is like escalating its bombing campaign and coming out and saying stuff like this is literally because Donald Trump is constantly undermining Zelensky.
Yeah,
like,
I agree completely. I mean, it's just like he has maximum. I mean, when Trump is saying like Putin, he has maximum leverage, then like why wouldn't you act like you have maximum leverage? It's 100% the most like intuitive.
100% art of the deal, baby. I saw another thing that is also insane. I am Mr. I'm Mr. Easing sanctions for everybody. Okay. But the fact that the White House has asked the Treasury Department to explore options for easing energy sanctions ahead of expected talks between President Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin is wild. Like he's behaving like the way Democrats behave against Republicans.
I mean, but I can't understand that
conceding before you get to the table is wild.
What remains like unclear to me is the extent to which it's like, is he doing all this because he legitimately believes that like this is how you achieve like this is how you frame as maximum like political victory, like what the end of the war looks like, or is it like part of a larger strategy where it's like, all right, we want to make U.S. and Russia friends again, aligned against China and Europe in part now? Like like how it coalesces as strategy remains unclear to me.
I think he just watched the Tucker Carlson interview and was like, I think Vladimir Putin does want to be America's Israel too, and he liked it. He believed him. He was like, yeah, why haven't we made Russia Israel? That's crazy. Yeah, lift all the sanctions. Give them unlimited. This is going to end up with Donald Trump doing unlimited weapons transfers to Russia.
Oh my God.
So they can blow up, so they can Gazify Ukraine. He's going to be like, yeah, that's right. They are. Russians have a right to exist. You are being quite Russophobic.
He is. I mean, it already is on some level. Like that is like what is people, because part of it is like they're not framing this in terms of like any kind of like to me anyway. Like they're not trying to justify it in like some like grand moral sense. Like it's all just like power politics stuff. Like no, this is the way the world works. This is the way it is, or whatever. And like where that's supposed to go, again, like remains unclear to me.
Yeah, he's just, or maybe he's just a bad dude. He just likes he likes the wrong side of every. He is morally consistent in terms of whoever is. He's morally consistent in terms of might is right. Where he's like, whoever is the more powerful or the larger army, larger military, I'm on board with them. I just like winners. I don't like losers. I'm gonna help the winners in every situation.
I mean, it is like, look, man. There are some famous people throughout history who have admired those who best reflect the will to power in their time, And I don't think it's at all shocking that Donald Trump identifies with that too.
Yeah, did you see the Chinese diplomats coming out and being like, Ukraine and China have to be a part of this
this is
conversation.
Like, I do think that there has always been people like have overread into the like strategic partnership that China and Russia announced after the invasion. Like people read that as like, oh, China's just endorsing everything Russia's doing.
But there's been reporting on this. I don't know if it's correct or not. I don't know if it's just like, making Vladimir Putin look even more dangerous, or in the process making China look better. But like there's been reporting on the fact that like Chinese envoys were responsible for scaling back Vladimir Putin's like nuclear escalations in the past.
Well, and moreover, like I also think that like it's not just China. Like China is
Western reporting, by the way, not like
China's. There are other countries that are also do trade, also have meaningful bilateral relationships with both sides of the aisle here. I mean, Vietnam, for example, there was the Vietnamese diplomats like posed with Ukrainian officials for a photo I saw at a recent international conference. Like there is like a broad, like countries that have reasons that aren't about like, oh, like, do we think Russia's in the right or the most right here, but are just like thinking from the perspective of like, I would like our territorial integrity to be preserved. And we don't want to, we don't want to like set precedents that could bite us in the ass or whatever. Like at a minimum, that kind of logic is surely like, that's surely what a lot of these types of countries are thinking about, to say nothing of like what they actually do think about the morals of it.
Finally, someone said, someone more corrupt than the government. Yeah. Finally, we got the FIFA boys in here to show Trump what corruption. Show Trump how to suck Saudi Arabia's dick. Okay. Yeah. Finally, a more corrupt entity, a more nakedly corrupt entity that absolutely loves.
They're there to give advice.
Loves the Gulf states. God damn, dude. Holy shit.